Hello everyone and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name is Mark and today we have the return of Booster Pack Friday. Now that Aether Revolt is out, and I'm sure everybody's had as much fun as I have with this set so far, opening up a load of products. If you've had anything that you've really enjoyed opening or anything along those lines, do let me know in the comments section below. For those new to this series, we're going to open up a booster pack of the newest set, have a look through the card and see what the pick one would be from it. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so getting stuck into the pack. I'm still looking for a couple of cards for my cube. I mean, there's always some great picks in here, and I'm actually tempted to build a standard deck as well, so that could be quite fun. So let's see what we've got here. Starting off with Negate. So for 1 and a blue, counter target non-creature spell. That's always solid. Happy to see those. Next, we've got Daring Demolition. So for 2 and 2 black, destroy target creature or vehicle. Fairly expensive, but depending on what's out, it may well be useful, so there's a piece of removal there. Next up, we've got Precise Strike. So for 1 red, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike to the end of turn. First strike is actually very useful as well to have, so that's a nice little combat trick there. Next up, we've got Iron Tread Crusher. So for 4, it's a 6/6 with crew 3. I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult to crew that anyway. There are some better vehicles out there, but you know, they seem to do a hell of a lot of work for you in limited formats as well, so happy to see vehicles. Next, we've got Resourceful Return. So for 1 and a black, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you control an artifact, you get to draw a card as well. So that's actually quite a useful card there. Not necessarily going to be a first pick, but it's still a nice option to have. Next up, we've got Aether Herder. So for 3 and a green, when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters, and it's also 3/3. Whenever it attacks, you get to pay 2 if you do get to create a servo creature as well. So realistically, it's 4 cost for 4 power, so that's fairly useful on 2 bodies there. If you can create a lot more energy, it may well be useful to get yourself a little bit of a board presence, so not too bad a card there. Next up, we've got Implement of Ferocity. So for 1, you get to pay a green, sacrifice it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, but you can only activate this ability. You can only activate it as a sorcery, which is fine. And when it's put into the graveyard, you get to draw a card as well. So, you know, it's 2 mana there realistically for a +1/+1 counter and a card draw. So that's not too bad. Next up, we've got Aegis Automaton. So for 2, you've got yourself a 0/3. You can then pay 4 and a white to return a target creature you control to its hand. That gets a revolt trigger, but to be perfectly honest, that's very, very expensive and not great. Next up, we've got Bastion Enforcer here. So for 2 and a white, it's a 3/2. Nothing else really to say about that. It's just a decent enough creature if you need to get something else, but again, definitely not close to first pick. Into the uncommons now, we've got Reckless Racer. So for 2 and a red, it's a 2/3 with first strike, so that's pretty solid. And whenever it becomes tapped, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. So, you're going to be swinging in for this anyway. You're going to be able to get through your hand, get rid of dud cards, and potentially draw some more. That can be quite useful. So I'm happy to see that. Next up, we've got Daredevil Dragster. So again, another vehicle we've got here. So for 3 cost for a 4/4 with crew 2, so it's a little bit easier to get to there. At the end of combat, if Daredevil Dragster attacked or blocked this combat, put a velocity counter on it. If it has 2 or more velocity counters on it, sacrifice it and draw 2 cards. So you can be swinging in for a little bit there, and then you get the bonus on top of getting a couple of cards as well. So that's fairly useful. Next up, we've got Siege Modification. So this has been really, really nice card for creating those vehicle decks here. So you don't even need to crew here. So for 1 and 2 red, you get to enchant a vehicle or a creature. As long as enchanted permanent as a vehicle, is a creature in addition to its other type. So again, like I said, doesn't need to be crewed anymore. It just becomes a creature. And then enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and first strike. I mean, that's really, really solid. I do like that. And our rare, we've got Solemn Recruit. So for 1 and 2 white, you've got yourself a 2/2, a double strike, which is really, really nice. And then Revolt trigger here. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I mean, that's going to be really, really easy to trigger. I can't, if you're thinking, that's not going to be too bad, no, it is really, really easy to trigger those revolts. And this is going to become a monster if not dealt with, so I really do like this card. We've got ourselves a foil reverse engineer as well. So for 3 and 2 blue, It's got an improvise, so artifacts can help cast this spell. You get to draw 3 cards. So, you know, in the right deck, this is actually just going to be, you know, cost for potentially even 2 blue, which is really nice. And an energy counter as well. There are a few decent cards within this pack, but I have to go with Solemn Recruit. A 2/2, a double strike for 3 is great value, especially as it can grow throughout the game. Revolt triggers are pretty simple to achieve, so without focusing it, it can end up winning you the game by getting out of control. The slight downside is that you will need to achieve a Revolt trigger on the turn it comes out against red to get out of shock range, but overall I just think it's a really solid card that can do some great work for you. So overall, that was a pretty decent pack. I mean, Solemn Recruit is an absolute bomb and a nightmare to deal with if you can get constant Revolt triggers off, so I really do like that card. But there are plenty of different ways that you can go here to have yourself a really nice draft. I mean, you've got counter spells, you've got, you know, bits of removal, you've got some aggressive creatures there in Reckless Racer, or even going down the vehicles route as well. So it's a really nice pack to be able to choose different ways you wanted to go. So do let me know in the comments section below which way you would have gone. Would you have picked the same as me, or would you have gone a bit differently? The next video on the channel is going to be the next episode of MTG Cubes, where we're going to be going through all of the colourless spells that we have within my cubes. This is including colourless creatures and artifacts as well, so do stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed the video, do hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.